So now we're going to talk about shaping a garment. So anytime we're talking about shaping a garment, we're talking about different kinds of things, including darts and different kinds of things to give a garment its shape. Another one of those things I wanted to cover exclusively is waist stays. If we're talking about dressmaking, you will come into contact with having to incorporate a waist stay if you really want to take your garment to the next level. Waist stays are often used in bridal gowns, really formal attire, prom dresses, really big gala kind of gowns. And essentially all they are is, and they can be done in a different way. The most modern way is usually with elastic. And we're actually going to be building one for our dress that we're going to do for our end of term project. We're going to build our own waist stay. So I'm just going to show you just the basic anatomy of a waist stay and then take you to a dress to see exactly what it looks like when it's placed in and its purpose. So a waist stay is essentially, it's going to tell you in the notes gross grain. That was the way that it was done before, but I find that in a lot of dresses that I see, and also as my own preference, I use elastic, because it has that stretch there and it allows it, if you get a nice sturdy elastic, it gives you the support, almost like Spanx, but also gives you some of that stretch and give. So essentially a waist stay is, you've got two large pieces of wide elastic. This one measures at about 2 inches. You want to get it either in a white or black, or if you can, you get it in the same color as the internal workings of the dress. But because it's inside, as long as it doesn't clash or it's not something that's going to show obviously in the outside. So for example, if you had an all white dress, you would not put a black waist stay in. Okay. And we see here, we're familiar as women, we're familiar with these closures. These are hook closures. And they're hook and eye closures, but we also see these on the backs of our bras. So you can get these in a variety of sizes, but you want to make sure that you're going to get it in the same size as the elastic that you're going to use. And what you do is you sew them to the ends of the elastic on both sides. You can also create your own, so you don't have to actually go in and buy these. They're more convenient to buy, but essentially they're just a series of hook and eyes. So if you couldn't find the color you wanted, you can actually create your own using a strip of fabric, creating these little pockets and then slipping these in there. You want to make sure you measure everything out and then hand sewing them to that piece of fabric. I'm doing the same thing on this side. You create that piece of fabric, 2 pieces, one for the main and then one for that fold. You insert them in there prior to, or after you stitch this around, then you insert those in there, and then you can also reinforce with hand sewing. So again, that's just a way to make a custom version. You can also buy these as is and just sew them onto your waist stay. Another reason why I like to use this one is because in addition to the elastic, what's been done here is you've actually had pieces of boning added to this so that it creates additional support. So normally without the boning, this would just sort of like fold in, but the boning gives you that extra bit of support so that it's really doing more than just pulling it in. It's creating an additional way to sort of like a mock corset style. So all they did here was they did a satin casing and they inserted and you'll see it when we do our bodice for our dress, what it looks like when we insert they did a casing here. You don't have to, you can just apply it straight on, as you'll see when we do our bodice in our final project. But I like this because it's a little bit more work, obviously, but it creates more support. So now let's go to our dress and see where exactly these are connected to, what part of the garment, and how it looks when it's placed inside of your dress. So this is what it looks like. We have the dress here, and as you can see, it's been placed in the side seams of the dress. So it's been put in the lining and in the side seam. So it's during the process of when we're putting together our lining, it's often inserted within the side seam. So as the side seams are placed together, you insert this as well during that time. You can also do it after, but if you wanted it to be more secure and do exactly what you needed it to do, you want to stick it in there during the process of closing up that lining. And then here I just did a top stitch here to just make sure it was secured. And you can also use ribbon. It's almost like a belt to create that secure belt type look. I mean, it can or cannot have it here. Obviously it sits a lot better. And then you just go in and secure it like you would, and there it is. And this is great for a lot of different styles, but really the most commonly used one is often when you see it being used in dresses that are like the one we're doing, where they're strapless, they don't have any straps, and this sort of like holds it on the waist better. So that's why we call it a waist stay, because it allows the waist to stay in place and that there's not a lot of movement. Okay, and then the dress gets zipped up. If this fit the dress form, the dress is a little too small for the dress form, but if this fit the dress form, you wouldn't see this opening here. It would completely close up, and that's why I said it's important to make sure that you're not getting a brighter color, because it would you would see it right through it. So it's essentially what a waist stay is and what it does, and it's something that we're going to be incorporating in our dress when we begin to put it together. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Videos are uploaded weekly covering dressmaking, fashion, lectures, and more. Enroll in Lady Cloth U on Teachable for dressmaking and fashion design courses. See you again soon.